All right, so I'm going to take just a second here and talk to you about how to prepare your plexiglass plate for your mono print assignment. It is me, Mr. Peterson. Hello, how are you? So you're going to take your plexiglass plate, and you'll need a piece of paper. And the first thing you need to do is make sure that the paint is going to stick to it. Okay, so I put a little bit of water on here. So what you're going to do is before you can paint onto your plate, you've got to make sure that it's going to accept the paint. Okay, because the plexiglass will naturally not want to accept the paint the way a piece of paper will, but it will if you prepare it first. So what you need to do is you'll see that there's two sides here. Most of these plates have been used before, and so they're pre-sanded. Some of you may have some new ones, but you can see the difference between the two different sides. The side that has been sanded has a kind of more of a matte finish to it. You can see if you let the light shine on it, see how it has kind of this very matte finish to it. If you flip it over, on the other side it's much shinier. Okay, so this side has not been sanded. This is not the side you're going to paint on. You want to paint on the side that has been sanded. So what you're going to do is you got to make sure it passes the water test. So take some water. You can do this over a sink, or you can just do this on the counter, whatever you want to do. I just dip my fingers in some water and spread the water across the entire surface of the plate. Now, even if your plate has been used, you'll still want to do this because sometimes when you use it, you have to resand it. So this one looks pretty good, but there are a couple spots where I can see that the water is not sticking on there. So let me see if I can find a good one to let you see. Okay, so right here you can see this spot. Let me get the reflection just right. So as I push water across it, you can see that the water peels back and doesn't want to stick right there. Okay, you look really closely, you can see where the reflection isn't showing. Okay, so that means I need to sand on this spot right here. Okay, and it's typically around the outside edges, so you want to make sure you get those. The middle is generally pretty good, but around the outside, for some reason, these plates usually need to be sanded to be able to use them again. Okay, so test the whole thing. You can see right here too, it starts to peel back. You can see those little spots right there. And when I run some water, it doesn't stick very well. Okay, but sometimes the plate is dirty, and you just need to clean it off, and it doesn't stick because it has some dust on it or something like that. So that could also be the case as well. If your hands are really oily and greasy, you can put, of course, a little coat of oil on here, which will also prevent the water from sticking as well. So you want to make sure your hands are relatively clean when you do this. You can see right here, some of these spots, once I kind of brush some water, it looks like it cleans it off, and it does start to stick. But when it doesn't, and most of yours will have to do this, you'll need to sand it. So you just take a piece of the sandpaper here. I have some waterproof sandpaper. I'm just going to fold it in half here a little bit. And then as you sand it, just kind of go in a circular motion. If you've seen the movie Karate Kid, this is your wax on, wax off, right? Wax on. Oh wait, wax on is this way. Wax off this way. So wax on, wax off, the whole thing. Get it all nice and sanded here. And what you're doing is when you sand the paper is you really just rough up the surface to create little burrs for your water droplets to stick to bind to catch onto. So that's what you're doing when you sand the paper there, and that's why we sand it. So anyway, that's what you need to do. Make sure that the whole thing works before you start painting, because you do not want to start painting your project and then find out that this entire section over here, paint will not stick to, and because the only way to fix it is to sand it, and then you might destroy what you've already painted. You can kind of spot sand some things, but you always have to go back and repaint it, and you can always see where you had to go and do touch-ups. So you want to make watercolor is not forgiving, so you want to make sure you get that clean. Okay, good luck everybody.